Everyone sees the game. The lights, the moments, the headlines, that's the part they show you. But that's not the whole story. Because behind every win, there's something else. Pressure, decisions, sacrifice, things you don't hear about, things you're not supposed to see. I started noticing it. The gaps, the questions no one was asking, the stories no one was telling. Not because they weren't there, but because no one was looking. So I did. I stopped chasing just the highlights, and I started chasing the truth. The moments in between, the voices underneath, the stories behind the sport. Because what's real isn't always what's visible. We don't want you to hear. We want you to listen. Welcome back to yet again another episode of the Behind the Sports Show BTS. My name is Giovanna Scroggins. I am your host of the show. This is something that I created to amplify voices in sports, and so y'all can hear more stories about the ins and outs of the sports industry from like a 50,000 foot view almost. This episode is I've never sat down with the caliber of guest that I sat down with in this episode. And I've never talked to somebody within her sport at the professional level. So I'm really excited to kind of get her story out there and get more just like viewership and excitement around professional volleyball, because I feel like it's one of those things. We just got a team in Dallas. And when I saw this professional team in Dallas, I was like, wait, this is actually really cool. And, a week later, I'm talking to one of the girls in the league. So super cool. You have to listen to her story. But before we dive into it, I have to start here. March Madness. I purposely waited so I could give y'all the full update of where we are currently as this episode is coming out. So I'm recording this the same day it comes out, and as of right now, we are in the final four on the men's. Or I'll start with the women first. South Carolina will take on UConn. The South Carolina UConn matchup is so insane. I'm sad that not UCLA, but I'm sad that LSU got out in the last round, but to each his own. The women have been doing amazing. Shout out to Notre Dame too. They ended too early in my opinion. But in the men's side of things, I fear I did not see any of these coming, honestly, in the Final Four. But Michigan will face off against Arizona, and then UConn will play Illinois. UConn, absolutely crazy game against Duke. Duke, everyone's talking about, that turnover. You all you have to do is get the ball past half court. You're able to win that game. Duke shouldn't have even been in that spot in the first place, letting UConn come all the way back. So yes, missed opportunity for them, and then that costly turnover, but you shouldn't have let them back in the game anyways. And I think that goes back to a whole team effort and not just one person. But the Boozers obviously are a big name in college basketball right now. Hopefully, we'll see success for both of them, not just one or the other. I know they'll make his dad proud. If you didn't know, his dad played in the NBA as well, which is a huge thing around this. There's a lot of kids in the tournament whose parents have played in the league and at professional level. So I think that's so cool. They're carrying on the torch. Well, enough yapping from me. Without further ado, BTS Season 2, Episode 7. I am so pumped because this is the first professional volleyball player I've ever talked to, like literally ever. So I'm pumped to be sitting down with Lauren Jardine Clark. Lauren, how are you? Welcome on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm doing great. Just in Utah, it's sunny right now, so I'm just excited to go play outside.
Yeah, I mean, playing is something that's been it seems like a part of your world and professional athletes and women's sports. Talk to me about where volleyball began for you. Like, was it in high school? Was it when you were super young? Where did this love of the sport start?
Yeah, so my sister played in college, and so I grew up watching her, going to all of her club tournaments, and I played like almost every single sport in the book growing up. Just was really athletic. My mom was like, "Okay, go play outside, go play different sports, go hang out with your friends." So I just did like a plentiful amount of sports. And then I ended up sticking with track, swimming, and volleyball when I went to high school. And then my mom was so sick of driving me to all these practices, so she was like, "Okay, you got to pick one." And I was like, "Okay, great." I loved track, but I think I was too tall at the time. I mean, I was 6'1" as a freshman, so I
Oh my
think
gosh.
yeah, I was really tall. So I just decided to stick with volleyball, and then I ended up loving it. Played it all throughout high school, and then did club for those years, and then 4 years college. And I'm my second year pro. It's like kind of crazy how that works, honestly.
It is crazy how that works. How tall are you now?
I'm 6'3" with shoes on.
Wow, that's important, guys. With shoes on, that's
With
so
shoes on,
important.
with
You have
shoes.
to like that's like the asterisk like next to your height, 6'3" with shoes
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
That's okay. So college, what was that like for you? Did you go D1? What was the recruiting process like for you? How was your experience playing, being a student athlete, all the stuff?
Yeah, so most people that would know me would say I'm more of an athletic student, but I did graduate with a degree in economics from the University of Utah. I changed my major probably 6 different times. I transferred from the University of Wisconsin to the University of Utah. So I did go D1 both my colleges. And it was so much fun. Like being like now that I'm out of college and able to see like the structure that it gives you, the skills that it gives you being a student athlete, like I would go back 100 times. And I would tell anybody else to do the same. I think that being able to have your schooling paid for so that way you can just focus on playing your sport, being able to know that like you're going to get if you choose the right degree, if you get a good job after you're done, you can just play for as long as humanly possible and then you can get a job whatever. So I think that was the best part. Recruiting for me was super easy. Honestly, like a lot of people will ask like what I did to do my recruiting, and honestly, I just played volleyball. Like I didn't do anything. I think I sent one email to coaches, and I was mostly just like, I think I was like 14. It was my first year. I was like, please come watch me play. But now it was just like it's crazy to think about going back and being like, oh yeah, coaches just were able to see my court from, watching warm-ups, and then all of a sudden coaches were reaching out to me and it was really exciting, and then I just made my decision from there. But honestly, that was the easiest part of the process, was being able to just like show the type of player that I was on and off the court, because coaches pay attention to what you do off the court too. They watch you, how you interact with your parents, how you interact with your teammates and your coaches. And so just being myself was the best way for me to get recruited, honestly.
Did you feel like there was any like I know you said it was really easy, but compared to how recruiting is now, how many offers did you have at the time? And do you feel like it would be different if you were a high school club athlete trying to get recruited and go to college now?
It was a little different, but I don't think it was like different when it was my sister's time. Like in her time, it was like you got talked to your senior year and then you signed with somebody quick. So I don't know. I made sure to talk to colleges, and I was like, I'm really interested in your program or I'm not, because I don't want to waste anybody's time. So I
Right.
narrowed it down from, I think I was recruited by like around 100 schools the first time, D1. And then when I entered the transfer portal, I think it was about 140. And I narrowed it down pretty quick both times. I was like, okay, here's my top 10, here's my top 5. And then I was just in constant communication with those, because I was looking for what's right for me, what was right for my college experience. And if a college or program didn't have that, then I'm not going to waste their time, and I don't want to waste mine. So I'd rather just have that honest communication with them up front. So yeah, both times super easy. I think I had like the top 5 that were like super interested the whole time. And then once I made my decision to go to Wisconsin, I told them before I had announced that I was going. And then same thing with Utah. I had talked to them. I think it was like 3 or 4 colleges at that time that I was just like, yeah, it's going to be these 3. So yeah.
What were the factors that played into your decisions? I mean, was it being, are you from Utah originally?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Utah, and so I wanted to be close to home at first, and then I realized that sometimes you got to go away from home to experience real life. So when I was figuring out where I wanted to go, it was mostly like team culture and what like aligned with what I wanted to do, and then it was schooling, because my mom told me it had to be schooling. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do. but I changed, like I said earlier, I changed my major probably like 5 or 6 times. It started off with English lit, then it went to animal sciences, then it went to business management, then it went to economics, and then it finally stayed at economics. And so it was just all over the place. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I probably still don't. But yeah, I was just trying to figure out like a pretty campus, that would be great. A good volleyball team, that was probably my number one. And then just a team that wanted me. And then both times I was able to figure that out pretty quickly. The second time was a little easier because I had experienced college. And so I was able to figure out and like know what questions to ask. So it was a lot easier the second time.
So in college, and I know you transferred to, and NIL has been this really popular thing. We just had a sports agent on our podcast 2 episodes ago. So if you haven't listened to that, make sure you go listen to that. But the landscape of NIL for athletes is a great, fantastic thing, because then you get paid off of your name and image and likeness. But for the sports, I feel like volleyball and maybe track, and basically not basketball or football, it is hard. And you put on top being a woman and playing a woman's sport as well. How did you navigate that? It's like one of those things where like you don't want to be ungrateful, but you also want to speak up, and you want to be able to have equal treatment, and I guess put your stamp on the sport. So how are you navigating those waters when you were in college?
Yeah, so NIL became a really big thing my like junior senior year, so I didn't really get to like dive super deep into that, but I did have somebody reach out that was an NIL branding agent, and he worked with a lot of football players. And he said, I watched the way you play. Like, I know that you're like this fired up type of player. I would love to represent you and get you some deals. And I was really skeptical at first. I was like, I don't really know what that means. So like, sure, you can like whatever you can do for me, sure. But I think a big part of NIL is understanding reality. Like, I know what brands I can go for and what brands like wouldn't align with my own personal of like what I want to do. My number one brand that I want to work with is Red Bull. Like, I drink Red Bull every single day. I drink it before games for lift. I like have Red Bull merch. I went to a NASCAR race and I was cheering for Red Bull the whole time. I didn't even know anything about racing, but I was cheering for Red Bull. So like I have these certain brands that I want to work with because they align with myself personally, both on and off the court. And I think that there are a lot of differences within the difference between female and male athletes, but also like the different sports that you have. I remember when I was at Utah, there was a car dealership that wanted to work with football, women's basketball, men's basketball, and women's gymnastics. And at the time, it was frustrating because we were fighting to get back into the NCAA tournament. So we had done a lot of work, and maybe it was because they had personal connections. And so I won't say anything more than that, but they got cars, like brand new cars that were just gifted to them. And I'm not sure the stipulations behind them, whether or not they had to give them back after they graduated or were they paid for them, with their scholarship or something like that. But it was just a very surreal experience to have other sports get those kind of deals and then have our sports get like, hey, here's some liquid IV, and that's like all you get. Like, and it's from one of our teammates. Like, it's not from any brands reaching out to us. And so it was hard not being in the same spotlight because I feel like every athlete works really hard at their sport. They work hard on and off the court. They work hard in the classroom, in the weight room. So like when it doesn't feel like it's rewarded, obviously it's going to be like a little soul crushing and hurting. But, it's something that like I just learned to like, I guess, deal with, because when I got to pro, that was when I feel like a lot more people were like, yeah, wow, this is an amazing experience for you. Let's, sweeten the deal, so they say. And so it was a very big difference going from even college to now, where they can pay me whatever I want and I am able to ask for whatever I want. And so for me, it's the NIL isn't mostly about the money. It's about like the experience and getting to network and getting to show off products and try products and be able to do stuff like that. So that's what it means to me.
Right. No, I love that. It's interesting because it's like liquid IV, car, liquid IV,
Yeah, it's just
car,
a little different
It's
now.
just
That's
it's a little
great. Yeah.
different. But you mentioned something when you know talked about going to the pros and then kind of reaping more of the benefits, if you will, of like having your brand and also Red Bull. Like you heard it right here. You need to sponsor your girl. She's the number one brand ambassador. But I am very unaware of the transition between college, collegiate volleyball, and professional volleyball. Like, what does that process look like? What is drafting? Like, do you have, sort of a combine? Like, walk me through your journey and kind of also give me a basic overview of the transition for professional volleyball athletes going to the next level from college.
Yeah. So for me, my experience, I play so much volleyball outside of college. It was crazy. So like summer tournaments, I played grass, beach, indoor sixes. I played co-ed fours. I played with men's teams. Like I just would go play any volleyball that allowed it to me. And luckily, I married somebody that also played volleyball, so it was like a really good
Oh
opportunity.
my gosh.
So being able to play in a different tournament like every summer, like it gets you views. So I played in this volleyball tournament down in Vegas called Aces Wilder. And I had this girl that played at UNLV that asked me to play with her. And I was like, okay, yeah, like this would be super fun. Like I love Vegas. Yeah. And at the time they had a professional team down there. And the owner of the team was also the owner of the club that we were playing at. So he was watching our teams play and he had watched the girl that I was playing with for a long time. They were just like friends and, they grew up together. And so they came up to me after a game and they were like, hey, we love the way that you play. Like, would you be interested in playing for this team? And I was like, yeah, like I haven't even thought about this point. I was like, it's the end of my junior year. I had just gotten back from Europe, so I was like still living the dream, like traveling everywhere. And then I was like, okay, preparing for my senior year, what I want to do differently. And that's like I wasn't even on my mind at the moment. And then when he brought it up, I was like, wow, this is actually a really good opportunity. I did more research. And then I talked to my coaches about it. I was like, is this something that I could like really do? And they were like, yeah, it's something you could really do. And so my whole senior year, I just went through it and I was like, okay, this is something that I'm working towards, but it's not my main goal right now. My main goal is to like get back to the tournament and do well. So did so much work throughout my senior year. And then towards the end of it, I think it was like I had like 4 or 5 games left. They reached out and were like, hey, we're interested in drafting you. Would you be interested in playing for us? And I said yes. And I ended up getting drafted. And that whole process, because of, COVID and whatever, they don't usually do it in person because everybody's so far away. So they do it over Zoom and they have this big program that's done. And every team goes up and they say, I select this player for this, college, and then move on. And you do a draft of like, I think 40 something people. So it's a little long, but all these amazing girls have these opportunities to go play. So I would love to like, every person that I think would be interested in playing, I'm like, go watch that and see their reactions. Go watch that and see the excitement that's on their faces about going to play for a professional team. Even if they, when they were little, they were like, this is what I'm doing. Like when you're in that moment, it still doesn't feel real. So for me, that was like a super interesting part and something that I always wanted to happen, but never thought it would. And so really grateful that Vegas gave me that opportunity. And then when I went to play in Vegas, I had finished my college career on like a Friday night. I had a Saturday to morn, and then I drove down on Sunday. So like it was a really quick turnaround, and I was really excited about it. And then when I got down there, I got to meet all these amazing people that I had grown up watching play. And then being actually able to be on the same like team as them was insane to me. Like being able to watch Olympians come and play with me, or like national champions come and play with me, girls that I had watched growing up play against my sister, like playing against me. It was like, this is kind of crazy. It just feels surreal. And then I'm just like a little baby on the sideline because I'm only like 22. I'm like, hey, this is great. So yeah, it was a really interesting experience being able to go straight from college to pro because I finished and graduated college early. So I was done in that like December, and then they had me come down, and then I started right then, and that was like my experiences. I went straight into it, so I was just like, I was already ready to play. I was already like good to go, and so I didn't have to waste any time. I like packed up all my stuff, went in the car, and then I was there. So yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And I mean, it seems like for every sport, you are going to get interest and you're going to have people looking at you and reaching out to you when you do play in college. But kind of based off what you just told me, it seems like for volleyball and professional volleyball, you have to go and play all these tournaments, like not just playing for your college team, but like if you really want to get to the next level, you have to grind, play in all these different tournaments all over the country, and then that's how you kind of get noticed by these teams. Is that fair to say?
I mean, I think it can happen, but I think it isn't always necessary. I think there's some people that play at big enough colleges that, they get noticed based off of, one play that they played, and it goes viral on Instagram and TikTok, and you just get so many views and comments and likes from that. And then that's where you get seen. Or you could get seen when you're, playing in high school, or you could get seen, at a random, event like I did. But it just like, volleyball is so weird because you can get seen either in game on the sideline, the way that you act, or like in a random tournament like that. Like it's there's really no like right answer. That's just what happened to me. And I know that other people, it was like they did work reaching out to other, professional teams and was like, I'm interested in playing for you. Would you be interested in playing for me? Here's my film and stuff like that. So I know that there's a lot of different routes to do it. And there's no right or wrong answer because I feel like volleyball is the one sport that's like, sure, yeah, we could do whatever. Like, well, yeah, great.
They're kind of making up the rule book as they go, and it's not like a one size fits all type of situation, which is honestly really beautiful because everyone's story and everyone's journey is so different. So it's nice to know that there's autonomy and flexibility on getting to the next level. What do you feel like is the biggest difference compared to like other sports, comparing that to pro volleyball when it comes to the draft process and getting to the professional level?
I don't know. Volleyball is weird because like what I'm thinking of is comparing it to like the NFL combine, and like if you put everybody in one place and have them all compete against each other or themselves, like it's different because you can do that singularly with their sport. Like with volleyball, you still have to do it. You still have to have other people interact with each other, and because it's such a bigger, not that football's not a team sport, but like there's a bigger reliable like connection that you have to have with your teammates because there's only 6 of you on the court, and like you have to work well with everybody else on the court or otherwise you're going to lose. Like you can have 1 or 2 guys go off on their own and they can be great, but it's not all 11 of you working together at the same time. Like it's just every sport is different that way. Like basketball, the same thing. You could switch one guy out and they're the same, or you could have these 5 guys that are like tight knit. They're like always working together. They're like really well versed in like what each other's weaknesses and strengths are. But like it's kind of different with volleyball. Like if you were to get everybody together, some people aren't fantastic with competition like that, and some people are. And so I think it would be a different viewpoint of what you'd get from sport to sport. So there's still variability within that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I never really thought about it like that, but it does. Like the chemistry is, I feel like, a lot more emphasized in the sport of volleyball than a lot of other sports because each of y'all has to be very much aligned, very much in tune of what's going on the court, what's going on with your other teammates, and things of that nature. So I really like that. I never thought about it like that. Okay, so you played Friday night, your last college game.
Mm-hmm.
Morning Saturday, drove down Sunday, started playing professional volleyball. What happened then?
Honestly, it just felt like I was back in season again, just different people. So back to morning workouts and then afternoon practices, and then they would pay for like your meals. They'd give you like grocery store credits to where you go and you just like do all your shopping there. And then we'd have like media stuff that we'd have to go do, and we'd go do like clinics for kids. And then we had our like first game that next week. And so it was really good to feel like I could go right into it and I didn't have to like do all the awkward like, hey, my name's Lauren, my favorite color is green. And it was just like, yeah, I'm your teammate, we can figure that out later, but like we're all on the same point. Let's go like punch this other team first. So I
Yeah.
think it was really easy to go from season to a season, because when you wait for a long time, you get back into being by yourself and, you have these routines. But when you go from being on a team to you have one day by yourself and then you go to being on another team the next day, I feel like it's like really easy to just fall back into the same rhythm just with different people. And so I think that was this most simple thing for me. I really don't know if my transition was that hard because had still been playing. And so I don't know. I think it was just so much fun. I just love doing it. I kind of wish I could do it every single time.
How many seasons have you been playing professional volleyball now? Has it been 2?
So this would have been my second season. I was injured. I blew up my knee on February 6th, had surgery March 3rd. So I'm 3-ish weeks post-op. So now I'm at home recovering. It's super fun. I hate not playing right now. It's actually the worst. But yeah.
It's so interesting. Like for our audience, so I initially reached out to Lauren and we were like discussing logistics of getting her on the show, and she was like, oh, like, by the way, I just had surgery, so we might have to push the interview out a little bit. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am praying for you. I hope for a speedy recovery. But it's interesting because you always, for the most part, you always say the same thing, like, I'm in recovery, this sucks, I cannot wait to get back on the court. What is like the mental blockage or even if you have any mental blockages right now, what is that process like for you, and recovery and like PT? And then eventually, what do you think it's going to be like when you get on the court? Like, do you feel like you're going to move a little different?
Yeah. So it is kind of awkward because I got hurt in game. I got the kill. That's all that matters. I got hurt in game. They replayed it on TV twice. I was like, you guys saw what happened. You don't need to play it again. So when I got injured, usually when any player gets injured, they like have a moment of shock. They either cry or they're fine. Every single time I would like sprain my ankle in college, I was a bawling baby. Like I would cry all the time. I was like such a big baby about it. Or like the other thing that happened is my like big injury in college was that I dislocated my shoulder and I didn't even cry. But I was just like, put me back in, I'm fine. It's okay, we're fine. But when this happened, I landed and I like was immediately like, wow, okay, that happened. I don't really know what happened, but I should be fine. Like slap a knee brace on me, like I'll be okay. And I got off the court and I was like, okay, this is fine. What am I feeling right now? And my trainer was like, hey, like move your knee around. And then I like tried to like lift my knee up and it just like flopped out. It was kind of weird. It felt like, I know, it felt like it wasn't connected, which it wasn't. I ended up I drove home from that game because we were supposed to go from Indy to Dallas. We drove home from that game. I drove with my parents. We got back to Grand Rapids. I went and saw the doctor. Then I had the MRI. And on my way home from the MRI, I got the results, but I was going into therapy. So I went into therapy, asked my doctor what the stuff meant, and then he was like, this isn't what we were looking for. So the options that we had originally thought was it was just an MCL sprain, and that would take 6 weeks to like relax, recover, do that kind of stuff, and then I would be back to playing. Or it was a 7 to 9 month recovery for an ACL tear. Ended up being that one. So that sucked. But the great things about being in a pro team is they take care of you the whole way. So they paid for my flight home because I wanted to have surgery at home. My husband's taking care of me the whole time, being my chauffeur, my cook, everything. So he's just Superman on this planet. But I got home, had a meeting with the surgeon. Then I was in surgery. They paid for the surgery. They pay for my rehab. But after surgery, for like a week, they were like, okay, don't move at all. You are laying down the whole time. You can't use your leg. And we'll see you in a week. And I was like, okay, great. You caught me on like, I think it was the third day. And I had just like gotten off my meds. I was not very coherent. But I was like, I can do it. It'll be great. The day before, I ended up passing out because of my medication, and my husband was
Oh
like, "You
my.
need to let her know that you can't do it." So that's why I had to cancel. It wasn't because of me. My husband told me to.
She's like, I was gonna do it.
I was
I'm
like,
fine. I'm
fine.
fine.
I'm just sitting down. It's fine."
We're just
Um,
passing out a little bit. Like, it's
yeah, I was
fine.
not fine. I was definitely not fine, but I'm okay now. But after my first week of like laying down, you can't do anything. You're on crutches or in a wheelchair, so like moving is almost impossible. If you bend your knee even slightly, your body's like, "Hey, what are we doing?" You know? And so I'm like, "Okay, great. I'll just suck it up." And we had some amazing friends that came over and brought us dinner, and they gave me a little like knee care package that has a coloring book that says I came out of knee surgery and this is all I got from it. So it's hilarious. And then they got me a little like bell to like call my husband.
Like, hello, I need assistance.
But after the first week, we went back, and I like brought my crutches out, but I was still a little like woozy because whenever your body does like have surgery, it's like traumatized. Like I didn't think I would have this much issues like going back to doing normal stuff. It's been hard, dude. Like I like walking normally, I look like Bambi on ice, so that's great. Can't move my knee normally. Can't play with my dogs normally. I can't drive. I can't drive. It's fine. It's fine. I'll be great. I can drive like next week, so I'm really looking forward to that.
But you're
But
so close, and it's
I'm
so
almost
close.
there. Anyway, so after the first week, they like took all the dressings off, and I was like, "Wow, that looks really ugly. I don't want to look at it." So I put my knee sleeve back over, and they were like, "Okay, go ahead and walk." And I was like, "So I haven't walked in a week. I haven't walked in a week, and you're expecting me to walk out of this office right now? You're hilarious." So they wheeled me out of there, and then my husband was like, "Okay, time to walk. Go ahead and walk." And I was like, I'm scared." It was mostly just like, what if I get hurted again? And he was like, "This is the strongest your knee has literally ever been. So you can either have that attitude and then not get back in 7 months, or you can have the attitude of, this is the strongest my knee has ever been. It's time to strengthen everything around it. And then you'll be back to playing in 7 months." And I was like, fine, I will have the other attitude. And that's been honestly really helpful because in dealing with PT, you have these days where it's super easy and like everything's moving good, and like you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can go back to playing right now." No, first of all, you can't. Trust me, I asked. Then you have these other days where it's like it's really hard. You can't physically bend your knee, and they have to bend it for you, because if you don't bend it, you have scar tissue and you need to have a manipulation in it, and that hurts way worse. And so I'm like, "Okay, fine, you can bend it. You can break my knee for all I care. Sure, do it." And so when they bend it, it's like an overbend. So like every time you go in, I go in every like Monday and Thursday, you have to have at least a 5 degree bend more than you had the last time. So like right now I'm at 110, which I like to tell myself is way better than other people who have had their ACLs, because I'm a competitive person. So that helps me not feel like I'm sucking at PT. So that's been my PT journey so far and recovery. The only mental block that I really feel, to finally answer your question after ranting, the only mental block that I feel is like, I feel like I want to play volleyball right now, but I can't. And the biggest times to get injured is 6 to 12 weeks after your surgery, and I'm only 3 weeks in, and I'm like, I should be jumping right now. Like I obviously need to like have reality set in a little bit, but that just doesn't happen when it comes to volleyball for me. But being able to like play is my number one, and so I'm willing to do anything that's gonna be getting me to play at number one. And so I have a lot of like support behind me from not only my team, but also like my PT, my husband, my friends, my family, of being like, "Okay, if this is what you really want, this is what needs to happen, and that means you can't do XYZ." And I'm like, what? Why? And then I'm like, "Okay, but 7 months." So that's like my goal, is to be ready to play in 7 months, and I will not accept anything less than that.
Period. So. And we'll be rooting you on, and hopefully seeing you on the court in 7 months. People don't hear about this side of things. I feel like often, whether it's professional volleyball, basketball, football, like any other sport, like we hear athletes get injured, and like we hear a little bit about the recovery process, but they're like, oh my gosh, like you came back bigger and better than ever, but you don't hear the in-between stuff. You don't hear like the everyday hardships and the mental stuff that goes into that. And I think especially for a woman athlete, like that is the pressure is like a lot. It's a lot. It can be a lot. So
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm
yeah.
trying to do with my social media is show like the real parts of recovery and like what it means. And so I have a video coming out about like the things that I've been struggling with while doing it, and one of them is driving, by the way. If you can't tell, I really like driving. It's really important to me, even though Utah drivers are the absolute worst.
I don't
But
know, because Texas drivers are up there as
Texas,
well.
Texas is pretty bad, but the best drivers that I've endured is Vegas, because everybody drives so fast and they know where they're supposed to be. Like they're not camping out in the left lane like Utah drivers are, when they should be farther to the right, because the right is for slow people and the left is for fast people.
Simple concept.
Nobody adheres to those rules anymore. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. They're like, I want to be in the left lane because I want to be in the left lane. It's like, you shouldn't be here, Honda Odyssey. Get out of here.
I love you. This is awesome.
I told you this would be pretty genuine. So
you're welcome. Okay, so professional volleyball at the core, where do you think it's going? Because I feel like there is a little bit of a like brewing excitement for the sport. And like Dallas actually just got a team, and it's been a really interesting thing to see how our city has responded to that, because I mean Dallas like is probably one of the one cities that you can go to see 9 out of 10 professional sports, and you know, adding women's volleyball to that is really cool. So talk to me about like your perception of the professional sport of volleyball, and where do you kind of see it's going in the future?
Yeah, so it's honestly insane, because before like 4 years ago, you would have to go play in Europe or in South America or in Asia to play professional volleyball. And it was harder than having to play here. You're over there for at least 8 months. You're with a different language. You're with different people and their like different values that you've grown up with. So it's basically like going to college again. But you're not going to school. You're like, this is your full-time job. You have to deal with like the culture of the places around you, and you're without your family, without your support system, without your friends, without, you know, like the fast food that you're used to. And so like you have to figure out whole different ways to like deal with stuff. So before our league came up, there was pretty much like nothing you could do. You could play in college here, and then you could go overseas, and that it was like a very minimal amount of people that, number one, wanted to do that, and number two, had the like athletic ability to do that. And so when they would go overseas, they'd go overseas for one season, not have a very good experience, come back home, not play ever again. And then when this league was created, I feel like all those people that had already gone overseas come back home and were done.
Sorry, somebody really wants to see it.
Sorry, my dog is obsessed with me.
Do we have a special guest today?
Yes, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hi. Hello.
This is the first dog on BTS.
This is my puppy. He is 3, and he thinks that he is a lap dog. He's about 9,500 pounds, and his name is Trunks. Yeah, he's my, yeah, I birthed him, and he knows it.
What kind of dog is he?
He's a yellow lab.
Okay, I was gonna say. So my boyfriend has a pit lab, and they look very similar. No, I was gonna say he looks just like our little Champy, so that's awesome. My dog's the same way though. I have a Doberman, and he thinks he's a lap dog, and I'm like, dude, you're 75 pounds. You are not a lap dog.
No, I think they don't get it, but they don't really care either. So he's just gonna be in here, huh? Anyway, back to the league stuff. Oh yeah, I can't handle it. It's so cute.
He's so cute.
I love you. in terms of like when the league came, I feel like all those people who weren't able to go play overseas for more than 1 or 2 years, they finally were like, oh my gosh, I have a chance here. Or even if they were playing overseas, they were like, oh my gosh, I want to go back home. That'd be great. Even if I'm living, in a different state, it's still closer than thousands of miles away from home. So I think that when this league was created, there was just so many more opportunities to play in the States and like visiting those cities that they were in. Like being able to visit Vegas if you're from, middle of nowhere Vermont, like that is insane to you. Like it's such an experience. And like even from living in Utah to Vegas was like really awesome to me because I had so many friends that had like moved from Utah to Vegas or from Vegas. And so I just had like all my friends there and it was great. But then you have other places that are like Grand Rapids, Michigan, where it's like a smaller community, but the community is so supportive. It is so like everybody knows you. Like you walk around in the store and people are like, oh my gosh, how are you doing? How's your ankle? I saw you sprain it the other day in practice. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So like I like always had to get ready, always had to be ready and everything because people will recognize you regardless. Like when I was in Vegas, I was like, yeah, people might recognize me just because I'm like 6'3". Like you don't see many tall people in Vegas outside from the Aces and us. So when I got to Grand Rapids, people were like, oh my gosh, Lauren, how's your dog? I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But they're so nice and they care so much. And like every single game, everybody's just cheering so like loud for you guys. And there's no like, how you go to other places and people are like, you're like, you suck, like all like heckling you. That doesn't happen in our league. And you have these other places that you go and it's just like such an amazing atmosphere. And I wish that I got to experience Dallas because I actually have a lot of friends in Texas that would have come. But I have yet to play there. We were supposed to go there right after I got hurt. Dang it. But yeah, so I think with this league, I think there's a lot to be excited about. But I also think that like I watch a lot of volleyball. Like I said earlier, I watch all volleyball. I watch Russian Super League. I watch the Italian League. I watch Germany. I watch men's and women's. I watch beach. I watch like the Thai 9-man volleyball. Like I watch any volleyball that's existed ever on the planet. It's there. Okay. I've watched it. And I like to also watch the other league that's in the US, which is Love. And I think that each league has their differences, but they also all have athletes that want to play in the US. And I think that's the biggest of all of it is that people just want to play volleyball at home. They want to be able to have their friends and family in the crowd that they can see all the time. And they want to have people that they want to be there and support them. And that's all they care about. Like they just want to be at home. They just want to play in the States. They just want to play for a good team. They want to win. Like that's like everybody has that universal experience where I want to play volleyball. I want to play it at home and I want to win. That's it. That's all you want. And so I think with these leagues, it's so amazing to be able to have more expansion teams and be able to go play in different places that you'll just get to experience more stuff. And then when you bring it to a new state, all those people will get to experience it. It'll get big in that state. And then you get more followers, more, fans, more everybody. And so it just is like an overall amazing experience to be able to see the league grow from 6 teams to now we'll be 14 next year. And just it's crazy to see how many we'll have in even 3 years.
Yeah, and it's really awesome that the fact that the league seems to really champion its players. And I'm curious to obviously we've seen what's happening in the W as of recently, and honestly, it's a common theme in women's sport. But do you feel like this league really is looking out for the players, trying to ensure that there's always equal treatment, opportunities across the board? What are your sentiments on the league as it's standing right now?
Honestly, I can only speak for myself. I think I'm getting treated pretty dang good. They paid for my surgery and they paid for everything that I could ever think of. So I'm happy with my point of view. I know that a lot of other people have different opinions and different experiences than me, but I've always felt really taken care of and really appreciated by the league. And regardless of where I go, I always have people that are like, yeah, Jardine, doing great, looking good. I put my name as Air Jardine because that's what I was coined in Vegas, and that was like my number one like nickname. People actually thought my name was Air, and so the funny part about it is that I didn't know this until I told my dad that people started asking about this. My dad played in basketball in college at University of Hawaii and Utah State, and so I told him, I was like, yeah, Dad, people are calling me Air Jardine, and my mom looked at him. She did one of these, and I was like, what, like, is that okay? And my dad was like, yeah, people used to call me that in college too. And so I was like, oh my gosh, okay, now I have to keep it. That's so cute. People call my dad Air Jardine, and now they're calling me Air Jardine, even they don't know my dad. So I found it was really cute to like
full circle moment. Okay, I have to ask about your husband because it seems like y'all have an amazing relationship. But how did y'all meet? Because I feel like y'all have a little bit of a meet cute, and I'm a little jealous, and I have to hear it.
So he's 10 years older than me. When I came back from Wisconsin and I was at Utah and just, playing volleyball anytime that I could, there was a place that like all adults will play and they'll, drink and have fun and just everybody's playing. There's music going, people are playing, people are eating, like everybody's doing their own thing. So this guy sitting on a bench and I go, he's pretty cute. So I go over and I sit next to him and he looks over at me. He goes, it's not happening. I go, okay. He goes, I'm not doing it. And I was like, you will ask me to hang out. 3 days later, he asked me to hang out. And that was it.
The full game was too strong. He
was like, it's never going to happen. He has a 5-year-old. And so he had like baby mama drama at the time. And so I was like, okay, like I'd never experienced this before, but I also was like, this will be happening for me. And because it's happening for me, it's also happening for you too. You're welcome. We were playing and our relationship like developed really quickly after that. And so we have been together for 3 years. We got married on our 3-year anniversary. So we just have one anniversary because I think that's easier to do personally. So yeah, in May we'll be together for 4 years, married for 1.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome. And he loves playing volleyball too.
He loves playing volleyball. He actually owns a semi-professional team in Utah called the Salt Lake Apex. Yeah, they're part of the PLA. Yeah. So he owns that team and he plays on that team. And he's so good. He played at Southern Virginia University, which is a D3 team out in Virginia, Buena Vista, Virginia, teeny tiny town. But he led them to like their highest number. They just won the national championship this past year. And so he like created that culture and that program to be what it is now. And so all the guys like know him. His name is Cougar. So they are like, yeah, Cougar, he's like a god. Like we all love him. And so anybody that I meet that's from SVU, even if like I have no idea who they are and he doesn't know who they are, he's like, oh my gosh, it's Cougar Clark. I know him. I'm like, wow, you're so famous.
You're so famous. And
you're so famous. Yeah. He's always like, I'm married to a famous person. And I was like, apparently I'm married to a famous person. Every volleyball event that we go to, people know who you are. How does that happen?
And I'm the one that plays in the league.
And I'm the one that is on TV. Okay.
That is awesome. I love that, you have it seems like you have a really good support system around you. So even though you are in recovery, like it's like a bittersweet kind of thing. Like you can't play, it's hard, but like it just reminds you of how beautiful life is and like how beautiful your relationships are with people around you and time like this. I think like my last overall question about like pro volleyball is, what are some things that you feel the sport could be doing more of or should implement in the next coming months, seasons, years in order to increase like the fans and increase viewership and increase like overall buy-in of the sport of volleyball? Because I didn't even really know that this league was a thing until they brought, that Dallas expansion team here. So how do you feel about all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really what should everybody else do? I'm more of like what I would love to happen. What I would love to happen is more like outright like media sponsorship stuff. So like I would love to like go on like TV. That'd be great. That'd be cool. I don't know if I would survive that's a different story. I'm not media trained, as some would say. But I do think it would be really fun to like get the players out there more and be able to like see them. Like we did a lot of stuff in the community of like going to high schools or going to club tournaments or going to children's hospitals or like things like that would like being involved with the community. But a lot of the times it wasn't like, you're going on a radio show or you're going on the news, like I feel like that also would be a bigger thing to have. And social media is so huge now that like even if I was on TV once, like your followers go up by like, I don't know, 30,000. Like it's crazy to like see. I just wonder how much our league would grow if we were promoted like that. Because I think there are some stuff being done. Like I know that the social media teams that like are on each team, like I know our Grand Rapids team does so much to get us like noticed by people. And I think that if it was done through TV, through YouTube, through, everything else, I think it would just help us blow up so much that like everybody would be like, oh yeah, I know what that MLB is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so I think that would be something that would be really cool.
I mean, I feel like sometimes people we like overuse social media a little bit. Like social media is a great tool to like get noticed, to like tell about a business, a new team, get someone's brand out there. But it's okay to also go back to the roots of like the traditional, like let's sit down and have an interview conversation. Like let's learn about Lauren, and then in return, now everyone's gonna learn about Lauren and the team that she plays for and this amazing league. So why aren't we doing more things of that? Not only with professional volleyball, but with women's sports in general, with sports that aren't, a part of the big four, because we always hear about those stories on the mainstream channels, but we don't hear about other stuff. So I completely agree with that. I think it's time in our episode for our insider secret. If you don't know what an insider secret is, something that we did in season 1 of BTS, and I am bringing it back because it was just so cool to hear what people had to say. So quick refresher, an insider secret is basically a moment, a piece of advice, or a story that our guest will share with us that they have never really necessarily shared with anyone before. So Lauren, what is your insider secret?
My insider secret is basically a moment that I had with my Utah team. So I think we had gone through so much adversity of like being ranked lower than we thought we should have been, beating teams that were good, losing to teams that weren't great. Like everybody was working really hard. We had injuries, we had, people leave. And so when we got to like my senior year, and we had gone to Europe together and it was like the same people, we all like, I feel like we all had like a dedicated moment for each other that we all just were like, this is the year. We hadn't been back to the tournament for 3 years, and we were like, okay, we got to go back. We got to like do the work it takes to get there. And after we lost to Marquette in the second round, we all were just like, I mean, it sucks that we lost tonight because we lost in 5. It was like 15-13. And it was just like a moment that I had where I was like, you know what? We may have lost, but like look at the work we did to get here. Look at the time we spent with each other, the effort that we put into everything, the work that we did, and like the experiences we had together in order to get here. And I think that that's something that not many people experience often in their lives, is knowing that you had a huge group of people that also did the same amount of work that you did in order to get where you wanted to go. And I think that that's something that's really just amazing to have. And I hope that everybody has one of those experiences in their lives where they just know wholeheartedly that that's exactly what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, like even though you didn't get the outcome you necessarily prayed for and wanted, it still was very rewarding and very fulfilling because you got to that point. And I love that. And it kind of rolls into the last thing that I wanted to ask you is like, is there a piece of advice that you would give to your like younger self, or even the version of you before you got injured, or a person that's aspiring to be a professional volleyball player? What's a good piece of advice you would give?
I would say 2 things. I'd say number 1, is always be yourself, because regardless of whether or not you think you're cool or you think that you're like funny or a good person, like people will see that in you without you having to try. And then the second piece of advice I would give would be to listen and learn, because regardless of whether or not you think other people have information for you, they do, and it just is a matter of what you're going to listen to and what you're going to take from them, because everybody can give you information and coach you on something, and it doesn't have to mean that you have to listen to everything they say, but there's always something you can take in and learn from it. So I think that's what I would tell my younger self, or even myself before I got injured. So
Love it. Well, Lauren, or should I say Erin Jardine, it was such like seriously so cool talking to you. It's funny because a lot of times when I talk to people and I meet people, I always love like hearing about their stories, but sometimes like you can just like connect with a person and relate to a person. I'm like, yeah, Lauren's my kind of girl. Lauren is my kind of girl.
out there.
But seriously, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We all wish you luck in your recovery. Oh, before we go, tell us your team first and foremost,
Yes.
when the season starts, and how we can follow you and how we can support you.
Yeah, so I play for the Grand Rapids Rise. Our season starts in January and we end in May. And you can follow me at AirJardine11. And then I think TikTok is Lauren Jardine Clark, I think. I don't remember. I just started it. But AirJardine11, all my recovery stuff will be on there. I'm posting authentic just like I would on this interview. So go find my funny self on Instagram. Because I'm funny.
Because I'm funny.
Heard it
here first.
All
right, Lauren. And Red Bull
sponsor me.
No, it's like day one of my recovery process and also trying to figure out how to get Red Bull to sponsor me.
No, literally, because every time I'm going to start doing Red Bull review posts, even though I've already had like 750 cans of them. I will be.
Okay. Big question. What's the best flavor? What's the best color?
Okay. I had this happen recently where somebody was so silly and got the sugar-free version of it, and I said, no. So what you need to do is get the adult version of Red Bull, which has the sugar in it. And the best flavor of the adult sugar Red Bull is the iced vanilla berry, the light blue.
Oh, the light blue one is good.
It tastes like a blue raspberry, like a melted slushy. But I also love, these are my faves, okay? Iced vanilla berry. I love the white peach, which is the pink can. But then the light pink can, wild berry, also really good. I also do like the elderberry one. And the June berry, which they took away, sadly. Tears. Then the cherry sakura, which is the brand new spring version that they just came out with.
I haven't had that one yet. My favorite is the light pink one. I'm like a light pink. Yeah. It's also just like a satisfying light pink. Like when I look at it, I'm like,
I'm not a pink girl, but I like that color. It's
same. I am not a pink girl at all. And I saw it and I was like, you know what? I can get behind this one. I can get behind this one.
I originally didn't try it because I was like, pink? Really? Why? And then I tasted it and I was like, okay, this matches. Thank you.
Like, I understand why now.
I get it. Thank you. My bad, Red Bull.
I get it. My bad. Okay, well, Red Bull, I mean, you got all you needed. You have all the information you need. Just sponsor your girl.
You know I'm here. You know I'm in your DMs. I'm there. I'm there.
Well, Lauren, we might have to run this back whenever you get through your recovery process and, you know, ramping up to the new season to see where you're at and what you're doing. But again, thank you so much for coming on the show today and telling your story. It was literally so awesome to hear from you and listen to your journey and all the fun things you got going on.
Thank you so much. It was really fun being on here. I will see you next time because I'm coming back. I'm telling myself right now I have to.
Thank y'all so much for listening to this episode. I am hoping that y'all got so much out of it. I'm hoping that y'all are jazzed up and energized about the sport of professional volleyball. That you continue to support women's sports, not just basketball, but volleyball as well, because these sports are literally paving the way for future generations and for women to have a place in the professional sports world because of their abilities and their talents. I typically don't talk politics on the show, but I have to bring up the situation because I think it's something that is being misconstrued a lot. I'm not sure if y'all know, but the Bulls have waived Jaden Ivey, basically because he was going on rants that can be viewed as hateful towards the LGBTQ plus community. The rhetoric online is confusing because especially right now we're going into Holy Week as Christians, and if you don't know, I'm a huge proponent about my faith, and I never want to combat hate and compare that to my faith and use that with my faith. But it's really interesting when you look at other players in the league, whether it's the NBA, NFL, that have, sexual allegations, abuse, some other things that are really serious. Not saying that hate speech isn't as serious, but it's interesting that this team just decided to waive him and not some of the other players because of some of the other actions that players do at the professional level when it comes to athletes. So I would just encourage y'all to remember that players are human. Players go through the same emotions that we go through. Yes, because they're on these teams and they are held to a higher standard, and they have to be careful with what they say. That can be understood, but at the same time, we have to view them as normal humans that might make mistakes, that can stand for something that they can believe in, and that also shouldn't be used against them, and that also shouldn't be necessarily something that they should be penalized for. So I'll leave it at that. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this episode. As always, you can find me at Giovanna Scroggins on Instagram and TikTok, and you gotta find the show too. So make sure you follow at Behind the Sports Show on Instagram and TikTok as well. Until next time, Tuesdays at 5 o'clock, we're dropping episodes like hotcakes, and we got some special stuff in the works. Y'all, seriously, you have to stay tuned. So, as always, keep supporting, keep celebrating, and keep being curious about what happens behind the sport. Remember, Jesus loves you.